Hello and welcome back to the Legion M Live Lounge at Sundance 2018. My name is Russ Fisher. We are sponsored by Cinemark Movie Club and Evolution Fresh. And I'm here with the director and star of the film Holiday, which premieres at Sundance. We have the director, Isabella Eklof, and the star, Victoria Carmensona. So please give them a round of applause to everybody who's in the house. It's the benefit of a live interview, you know? It's not just like quiet and a little thing. So what I have about the film, I'm going to read because I haven't been able to see it, so I'm going to read a thing and then you're going to tell me how wrong it is because it's probably not quite correct. So Holiday tells the story of a love triangle featuring the trophy girlfriend of a petty drug lord, caught up in a web of luxury and violence in a modern dark gangster tale set on the Turkish Riviera. How does that sound?
Yeah, well, that's our logline.
That's the logline? Okay. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit more about Holiday then, jumping off from that?
Yeah. Just go ahead and then cut me off if you want. Holiday is, it's not exactly about the love triangle per se. It's about a girl having to choose between like living a life in a golden cage or being more poor and free and hippie-ish, going off on something more unknown and more insecure, I suppose.
Maybe also more simple.
Simple, yeah. So it's really not so much about choosing between two men, but choosing between two ways of life. Yeah.
Okay. And you said earlier that the film is connected to or touches upon the Me Too movement in a way.
Yeah.
Can you tell me how that works?
There is psychological and physical violence and sexual violence in the film, which is very graphically portrayed. And that's was very important for me as a director to do that, because just for the very reason that Me Too came up in the first place, because things need to be spoken about in the open. Like the reason Me Too has been so powerful is because there's been so much suppression of what you're allowed to talk about and what you're allowed to relate, and you're not allowed to be weak and submit to awful things. And if you do, you definitely shouldn't talk about it, because that's just icky, you know.
Yeah, and shameful and kind of your own fault. If you're wanting to see yourself as a strong, independent woman, a human being, it doesn't fit with like
the picture.
No.
Yeah, so it never happened.
So we've seen, you know, there are more films than we could talk about that feature graphic depictions of sexual violence or any of these events, and it gets exploitative very quickly. And I kind of guess that that's not the goal that you're after in this particular case.
No, it's a part of my filmmaking style is that I shoot my stuff in a sort of cold and intellectual way. So it's not going to be very good masturbation fodder, you know. It's going to be kind of raw and rough and a little bit. You really don't want to see it more than once if you can avoid it.
It's not like kind of a sensual, typical sex scene where you have like ultra close pictures of skin and maybe a drop of sweat, and it's not like that. It
looks like a commercial or something.
No, it's very distant and cold and raw. And that's part of the reason why I wanted it to be that way. Also, but also the whole depict life as it is kind of ideology that I have.
Victoria, can you tell me about your character specifically and what that was like?
Yeah, I mean, my character, she's called, her name is Sasha, and I think that she's actually more than anything trying to find a place to belong, trying to find something which you could maybe describe as a family or some kind of environment to be a part of, some closeness. And she's also a bit of an, not just a bit, but she's kind of an opportunist. Can you say that in English?
Absolutely. I don't know the word in opportunist.
Opportunist?
Opportunist?
Yeah, opportunist.
Okay,
Thank you. Yeah, but that's very much her. And she sees this kind of like, she sees this very like, this kind of family where people are like the rules and the what do you say, the hierarchy are very strict, like outlined,
Very easy to spot.
very easy to spot, and therefore in a strange way actually quite comfortable.
Sure.
Because
you know where you are, you know where you fit.
Yeah, exactly. And I think she sees the pleasance in that.
Yeah.
And also the thing I said before about her being a bit like going for it, happy-go-lucky, she also finds this as an opportunity to living the best life, you know.
Yeah.
Their money, their jewelry, nice cars. She's being called the princess.
All the time by everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll call her princess.
Okay.
Yeah.
People are not really asking her any questions.
Yeah, yeah. She doesn't have to.
Express her feelings. She doesn't even have to put like words to herself on her own feelings, emotions. She can just like try to stick to the rules as closely as possible,
Yeah.
and then she will succeed.
Yeah.
Be rewarded. Yeah.
She doesn't really have to talk. Yeah.
She discouraged from talking?
No, not exactly. It's just
No.
that. Yeah, there's not. Yeah. It's and also there's a kind of a tough love thing happening that I found in some like thug environments, a kind of like real generosity and embracing people, and you know that the punishments are very strict if you digress, but if you don't, it's like really like a real family, a real big, you know, hearty family, which is very appealing if you feel lonely and don't know what to do with yourself.
I think that's why a lot of people come to that in the first place.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think so too. And also a thing that me and Isabella, we discussed it a lot, was that it's also for Sasha, it's also very, you know, maybe she've never actually experienced like fitting in somewhere. And therefore it's also like drawing to find these kind of outlaws, own rules, own systems, not like living by the rules of society, but like creating their own way of.
She's not judged when she's weak.
Yeah.
You know, the weakness is accepted because they're all weak and they've all transgressed. Yeah. Which is a comfort.
Yeah.
Although in that typically, at least, without having seen this film, typically in that kind of the world that you're talking about, for men at least, weakness is not allowed in
some kind of weakness is not, and some kind of weakness is. Depends on what it is you do. Of course, you can't shy away from a mission or you know, you can't, and you're severely punished if you do fail at something, but you're allowed to I guess you're allowed to be fucked up. You know, you're allowed to take too much drugs. You're allowed to do weird, crazy things.
You're allowed to get into a fight. Maybe you have spent several years in jail.
Yeah, you're still okay. You know, you're still one of the good guys.
Yeah.
How did the two of you meet? Had you worked together before this film, or is
No.
this your first experience together?
It was our first experience working together.
Yeah, it's funny because I cast Victoria as another character because I thought she was way too young for the lead. I imagined a woman in her 30s, but Victoria was definitely and by far the Danish actress that understood and could handle this very complex character. So I had to rewrite her age. Yeah.
And it was kind of like from the first time we met each other, we kind of had like a certain understanding.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. We think alike in many ways.
Yeah.
Some ways not so much.
No, but that's like just a bonus.
Yeah.
We complement each other.
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
Well. Yeah.
That kind of common wavelength is very visible just seeing the two of you talk. It's nice, it's great, you can really tell. And
it helps to work so much because you can work intuitively. You don't have to explain things really.
No.
You understand them.
and especially with, I'm sorry,
No, I was just like putting a line under what Bella said. Like you don't have to
spell it out.
Spell it out. It's very much about trust, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just giving over, maybe especially for me.
Yeah.
Just
Trust is so important when you do a movie. And because we know we have the same agenda, we have the same thoughts about a lot of things. It's not a problem.
No.
And Victoria has been extremely generous with her trust, letting me put her in very extreme situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that? Did you have to? Was that trust intuitive as well as the two of you began, or did you have to earn it?
I think it's fun because I can't speak for everyone, but from my experience, I mean, it's almost always like if there is a trust like intuitively, it's just there, and you just know. And I choose very wisely who I'm like getting involved with work-wise, because I think you have to show that trust to your director as an actress. So for me, it's just like I have experienced over and over again going on set with different people, not only actors, actresses, but like different peoples on set, just like constantly questioning. And I think that you can like have a positive, very like, how do you say, developing conversation. Always.
Yeah.
You can always ask questions, but like this very skeptical, like way of questioning, it should never like exist. And with Isabella, I think from the first meeting, the first time we spoke, maybe the first time we even like said hello. I think there was this kind of an understanding and a recognition. I think sometimes it's almost.
There's a very basic thing when you work creatively. It's like you learn in improvisation work. You can't say no. You have to say yes and.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes and let's, and then you move together like intuitively, right? And of course, but you have to choose who you work with. You can't just do that with anyone.
No.
You have to have a sort of a similar experience in life or understanding of life to be able to work that way. Just walk together without really having to point out the direction.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
And even if you don't have a very similar understanding, the fact that you have an understanding for the other person's understanding can sometimes be enough for a fruitful work. You can say so.
Yeah. We have to wrap up, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's been really lovely talking to both of you.
It has.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Everyone, give a hand. Isabella Eklof and Victoria Convenzone. And their film is Holiday, premiering in the midnight section. Yes?
No,
not midnight. It's
World competition.
9:30, right?
Oh.
Yeah, go.
Isn't it in competition?
it's in competition. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, my fault.
Don't worry. World Dramatic Competition,
World Dramatic, yes.
premiering on Sunday.
Yes.
Fiction.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right.
Bye.
Take those. Thanks a lot. Thank you.